morning, everybody. See if I can get this microphone turned up. I'm not used to having a microphone. Such a good day to be here. I'm Reverend Jay Lang, the senior minister here. Such a beautiful sunny day, isn't it? Oh my God. So beautiful, so beautiful. I just want to welcome all of you. If you're new to us today, a special welcome to you. We're going to begin with a little music today, as always. So enjoy the joyous Bodhi Starwater here.
All right, you ready to sing now? I guess we're going to have a new tradition of having the same chant every time we're here, so you're going to really learn this song. Spirit, guide my day, open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice, open my mind to the freedom of joy. Spirit, guide my day, open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice, open my mind to the freedom of joy. One more time now. Spirit, guide my day, open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice, open my mind to the freedom of choice. Everybody together. Spirit. Oh, that was good.
Oh, what a glorious day it is today. We have a guest speaker today. I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Reverend Judy Morley. She's here to give the message today. Her main message is about conscious communication. The name of her title today is Unity Starts With You, as you know it does, or starts with you. She comes from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. She's an American history expert and on Gettysburg battle and the Civil War and Abraham Lincoln, as well as being a CSL minister. But in her honor today, I wore my Abraham Lincoln socks here. That's good. And Michelle and I spent a few days in Gettysburg with Judy, and she gave us a tour, and we didn't know that it was like a 3-day battle and all the different parts about it that spread over, I don't know how many acres, probably
27 square miles.
27 square miles. So it's amazing. If you've never been to Gettysburg, it is worth the visit to go, and it's just a pivotal point in the Civil War, and I think what Reverend Judy brings us is more about the spiritual pivots in our lives. So I'm looking forward to hearing her message today. And then also at 2 p.m., she's giving a workshop. And there's still plenty of room available in that. You can buy the tickets after the service or at 2 p.m., either one. Just show up with a Spanish-speaking service in between. That's why there's a break. But go out and enjoy lunch here in Napa on this beautiful day. And come back for the 2 p.m. workshop. We'll love to have you back for that. We'd like to begin our service with our vision and mission statement. So if you'll look up on the screen, repeat with me. We are an inclusive community for spiritual growth and compassionate action. And our mission, we are co-creating a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. Well, you know, I'm used to having the headset, and what I realized is when I turn my head, the microphone doesn't go with me. So what happens with that? You know, so Gotta move like this. So that works. We have a number of activities in the next few days. Basically, not only do we have the workshop today, but I will let you know a few other things going on. On Saturday, February 3rd, we have the annual Napa Valley Black History Celebration over at Crosswalk. Now, it's from 2 to 5, and that's an open time, so you don't have to be there that whole time. There's going to be different booths and presentations, so you can come and stay for a little bit or stay as long as you want. And then at 5:15, they're serving dinner. Now, to have the dinner, you do need to buy tickets to that. But those are the only tickets you need. You don't need to buy tickets to the event other than if you want to eat dinner at 5:15. So that'll be a fun celebration that starts our Black History Month over at Crosswalk Church. And then that evening at 7 p.m. is our Love Concert with Narayan and Janet. I think it's going to be fun. We're going to have tables set up in here with tablecloths and chairs. We'll have sparkling water, but feel free to bring your own wine if you want to. We'll have glasses. And mainly it's just a community event. And Narayan and Janet are so creative and fun. Here's a little video they did for us.
Hey guys.
Hey friends.
We get to be with you.
We are so excited. February 3rd, 7 o'clock. And I think it's going to sell out. My
7
goodness,
o'clock.
there's people coming far and wide to be part of this love fest.
Yeah. And there's dancing, there's singing, there's eating, there's drinking,
chocolate,
there's
and
running
sparkling
around, there's
wine. And
Yeah.
there's mostly love, and it's filled with love. It's going to be great energy. So we'll see you there. Come on, get your tickets now. Invite some friends. Get
Yeah.
a table, and that will be on
We'll
February
have
3rd.
fun.
Oh.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Isn't that great? So it will be a lot of fun. So you don't need a date just because we're all friends and there's a lot of love in this community. So just show up, bring friends with you, and create your own little table or share a table with other people. It'll be a fun event. So hope everybody's involved. So it starts at 7 o'clock right here in the sanctuary. And like I said, we'll have things set up a little bit differently. So hope you can make it for that. And then the very next day, we're having our regular services. And then right after the services, we're going to have what we call a Super Bowl, SOUPER, that we're inviting people to bring crock pots full of soup to share, and we'll have our soup right here in the sanctuary, soup and salad and bread and drinks. And while I've got you captivated with food, we're going to have the annual meeting. No, it's the annual meeting. I always like the annual meetings because we have a chance to talk about how our year has been fiscally, 2023, which has been a great year for us, and how 24 is starting out, our budget that we present to you and talk to you about, and see if you have questions about it. Talk to you about what you might want to see and experience in 2024. And then we also get to acknowledge our outgoing board members. In our bylaws, we say board members can only serve 3 years. And so far, I haven't had anybody try and change my mind on that policy for some reason. But still, we don't want to burn anybody out. So 3 years you serve, and then we need new members, and we have 4 new members coming on. So we're excited about that. You'll hear more about that next week. But it's a fun celebration of our newness. And the idea is we keep, like a pond. We need the new water coming in and I don't want to say old water. How about experienced water leaving? But it's just time, keeps our circulation in so many ways. So that's Super Bowl Sunday. And I don't know if you noticed that it's not till next week when the real SUPER Bowl happens. But I don't know if you noticed my voice is a little less challenged this week. That's because the game's not on until after the service today. And know that this is what we have our DVRs for. Nobody wants to watch the commercials anyway, so come to the workshop, then you can go home and watch the Niners after that. So, and we know they're going to win, right? Yeah. Meditation on Wednesday nights, always And then also, if you're interested in the Peace Pole being at your house in your neighborhood and spreading that, we have a clipboard that's being passed around that Johanna, step in here enough. I think everybody knows you, but just in case they don't. She's going to have the clipboard today to sign up for a certain month, and you'll be able to do that. And then we also have that, you don't know this, we have a QR code out there, so if they want to pay today, they could go ahead and pay that. So the So for online people who might not have heard that, it will be delivered to your house within the Napa Valley or Sonoma counties. Let's be clear about that. I'm not sure about Shasta. Even though, I might deliver that one. But that's a fun way to do it. And the other thing I want to let you know is the second Sunday in February is our Green Bag Day. And this has been an ongoing thing for like 7 years. I think we've had this, and in cooperation with Napa Can Do. And for those of you who don't understand, we're acting as if we're a neighborhood. We're the only church or center doing that here. But mostly this is a neighborhood thing where people pass out these green bags, fill them up with non-perishable goods, and give them to their neighborhood representative. We're acting as if we're a neighborhood, because we are, and collect these on Sunday, and Janice Davis picks that up. And some exciting news we have about this year is in 2023, there were 72,403 pounds of food picked up, and monetary donations were over 26,000. Now, my slide wasn't, I meant the upper part that's cut off says just thank you to Janice Davis for coordinating this for so long, and Napa Can Do for running this program for us, because they provide the green bags for us and we just fill them up. So I encourage you to be part of this. You got 2 weeks. And what I do is I just take my green bag with me with regular shopping and just put some things in there and bring them back. And you can bring them back anytime, Tuesday through Thursday, or on Sunday. You can bring them back a week early, whatever you want to do. And if you don't have a green bag, we'll have a booth set up, a table set up next week to pick up a green bag. So that'll be exciting. February 11th is that. And then the big thing that we're rolling out way ahead of time, but you have to do that with this, Sip and Savor. How many people have been to Sip and Savor in the past? It's just this wonderful, wonderful event that is really, we do many things there. One thing we do is we celebrate local heroes with Compassionate Heart Awards. We have premium wine tastings, savory bites, live and silent auctions that all are part of this festive event. And it's all part of our efforts to promote peace, compassion, inclusion, and equality in our community. So how do you get involved? Good question. I think I heard you ask that. So first of all, we are now taking nominations for the Compassionate Heart Award. And we're only doing this for about 4 weeks till the end of February. So we want to get those in as soon as possible. But if you think of people here who live in Napa Valley, it could be Sonoma, but generally Napa Valley, but are doing work here, making a difference through their compassion, through their work they do, through selfless service, then you just there's some nomination sheets either online or out in the courtyard at the welcome table there. And you can fill those out and put who this person is and why you think they deserve to get this award. Last year we had 10 nominees, and we choose 3 of those to receive the award, and we honor them at the Sip and Savor. And then the other things you can do is donate wine, fine art, jewelry, gift cards for restaurants or services, vacation trips, gift baskets, any number of things. You can invite wineries that you might know to be part of the wine pouring or to donate wine. You can be an individual or business sponsor, volunteer for the event. Later we'll have information about that. And mainly mark your calendars and invite your friends to join us on Saturday, May 4th. It is a glorious and fun social event. It's becoming bigger and bigger every year, so we're excited about it. So there are forms for both nominating people and forms for donating things out in the courtyard, or you can find them on our website. The paper you have, the little short piece of paper, half sheet, it has all the links on it, including a QR code. You can scan that and get to that page. So it's very accessible if you want to give something for the silent auction or the live auction. We really appreciate it. Or invite winery friends, or if you know somebody who might want to be an individual or corporate sponsor, we appreciate it. So big thing, and big things are happening. We're excited about this year, especially now fully. We had the courtyard kind of finished when we had it last year, but it was still not quite finished totally. So this year it'll be fully finished with the rock wall and the solid surfaces. So we're excited about that. And then also I wanted to share with you that yesterday was Rosemarie's Grajo's memorial service, her celebration of life, and it was beautiful. She's one of our former practitioners, and I loved it how the painting you see on the left-hand side there had her practitioner stoles up there, and we had practitioners there with their stoles, so honoring the Center for Spiritual Living there and this tradition we have. I know not everybody was able to make it to that event, so I encourage you, there's like a poster with her picture on it. And if you just want to put a little, we miss you, or we love you, or thank you for being you, something like that out there, and sign that, we would appreciate that. And then I will give it to the family in a couple weeks when we have time to sign it. There's also a program from the celebration of service, but it really was a celebration yesterday because she was this joyful spirit in everything she did, and she continues to be in her eternal life. We know that. So now we go into this time of sacred service, and today we're starting this new song, and it's either a recorded version, but today you get a live version of it.
When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right now, where I am, I pray. Right here and right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, when I am, right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. when I pray. I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God.
If you feel comfortable, close your eyes or avert your gaze. Let's breathe in deeply and out, expelling all thoughts that do not serve us, allowing us to feel the power of God. Breathe in, breathe out. Thank you. I'd like to draw your attention to our video. A video I want to share with you.
The story of Ubuntu. One day, a Western anthropologist went to Africa to study the social behavior of an indigenous tribe. He proposed a game to the children, and they willingly agreed to be part of it. He put a basket filled with fruits underneath a tree and made the children stand 100 meters away. Then announced that whoever could reach the basket first would win the whole basket and could eat all the fruits by him or herself. He lined them all up, raised his hand to give the start signal. Ready, set, go! Astonishingly, the children took each other's hand and started running together. They all reached the basket at the same time. Then they sat down in a big circle and enjoyed the fruits together, laughing and smiling the whole time. The anthropologist could not believe what he saw, and he asked them why they had waited for each other, as one could have taken the whole basket all for him or herself. The children shook their heads and replied, "Ubuntu. How can one of us be happy if all the others are sad?" One of the sayings in the country is Ubuntu. It means, I am because we all are. It is the essence of being human. Let's always have this attitude and spread happiness wherever we go. May we all live our lives with the spirit of Ubuntu.
Or the Ubuntu is a Zulu saying, Umutu Ngamutu Ngabantu, which Desmond Tutu once paraphrased, "A person is a person through other persons." None of us comes to this world fully formed. We would not know how to think or walk or speak or behave as human beings unless we learned it from other human beings. We need other human beings to be fully human. Tutu was describing the essence of Ubuntu philosophy. Today we can expand the philosophy deeper. So we can say, I am because you are, but we can also say, I am because Spirit is. And Spirit is because I am. It is in this way that we recognize and celebrate the move from our finite selves toward the wonders of our infinite, powerful selves. That's a lot. It seems difficult and complicated, but in actuality it's quite simple. It boils down to one word: unity. We are united already because it is in our nature to be united. We just need to realize it and let it soak into our consciousness. The unity in Ubuntu is big, and it's not just a local thing or a national thing. It's a global thing. It's a universal thing. This is what my work in Uganda has taught me. No matter where we are or who we are connected. And we can't be fully happy when others are sad. Let us pray. What I know is we are one, as God is one. We share the same substance as a spirit, and that's which empowers us to do good works in this day. We thank you for the power that you've given us. We thank you for the wisdom that we receive from Spirit to do right and to use the power of God to change lives. And so it is.
There are angels all around us. Their love always surrounds us. And if anything confounds us, they are here to help us find our way. There are angels here to guide us, to help us to hear and see. They could be right here beside us. Are they here inside of you and me? Do they know that they are angels? Do they know that they are here for us as they travel on their own path by their light, guiding us to trust? Are these angels wearing wings, shimmering and bright? Are they way up in heaven, bathed in pure white light? Or are they wearing old blue jeans at the local bar, eating chips and salsa and asking how you are? Well, the secret is to see them, to find them every day, and to learn to recognize them. Listen close, what they have to say. They are here to give their love to you, to share compassion that you are due, to find the joy, let go of fear. After all, isn't that why we're here? Are these angels wearing wings, shimmering and bright? Are they way up in heaven, bathed in pure white light? Or are they wearing old blue jeans at the local bar, eating chips and salsa, asking how you are? There are angels all around us. Their love always surrounds us. And if anything confounds us, they are here.
Thank you, Bodhi. It was beautiful, beautiful. Also, just want to acknowledge Sean. That was just a really touching remark she made today. Bringing the African wisdom that you knew about for some time, but I think reinforced when you went to Uganda this year, or last year. It's a new year now, right? Last year, yeah. So I'd like to introduce to you once again Reverend Dr. Judy Morley. Michelle and I have known her for, I don't know, a couple decades. And got exactly. I got to know her better when we were going to ministerial school together, when she was part of the executive team at Home Office and started her own church in Colorado. And we just have stayed comrades, but also good friends. And I just know her. She's an expert in emotional intelligence and facilitating workshops. and just allowing people to move from where they are to where they want to be. And she has all the skills to be able to do that. And my personal favorite also is to do tours with her, whether it's the city of Denver, Gettysburg, or wherever it might be, because she has some fascinating back details that you won't find in many books. So, and it's our pleasure to share her wisdom and her knowledge with you today. So please welcome Reverend Dr. Judy Morley.
Thank you, Reverend Jay. I'm going to set that over there. Thank you so much. So I love being here. Oh, Michelle, how do I get to my first slide? There we go. So I want to talk to you about Unity Starts With You. I know Reverend Jay told me that the theme has been the grand rising of the beloved community. And I love that theme because it gives us the opportunity to recognize that the beloved community is not them. Wouldn't it be so much easier to get along with those people if they would just think more like I do? Wouldn't that be so much easier? It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. So I want to talk to you about how do we shift this. So did you ever think that you would live in a time where there was this political charged environment, this divisiveness, where matters of race and common decency are in the forefront, where there's violence at the United States Capitol, where there's a contested election? I tell you what, read your history books. It happened in 1860. It happened in 1860. All those things. Senator was beaten almost to death on the floor of the state capitol. Half the nation seceded because they didn't like the outcome of the election of 1860. We think it's bad now. We've been there. We've done it. We survived. So hopefully that gives you a little hope. We know what's going on here. We can do it. But you know what it takes? It takes leaders who are willing to step into a truth higher than themselves, higher than their small s self-opinions, and to see a bigger vision. So I happen to have an affinity for one of those leaders. For those of you who don't know, that's Abraham Lincoln. I say that because Lincoln is the most recognized face in American history. He's the third most written about human being in human history, if you can believe that. So, and he was the 16th president of the United States. Now, we all know Abraham Lincoln as Honest Abe, rail splitter, things like that. My belief about Abraham Lincoln is that he was a transcendentalist who believed and taught science mind principles, even though he did not have those words to use them. And so that's what we're going to talk about, is what can we learn from looking in our history books in Abraham Lincoln that we can use today, right here, right now, to take out into the world, to be those leaders like Lincoln engendered, to help reunify this nation and to help reunify our world. So does that feel like a grand rising to everybody? If we could do that? Awesome. So let's talk about that. I'm going to turn that off, and I'll show you my points at the end. Reverend Jay and I had a lovely conversation about, I don't want y'all staring at the PowerPoint while I talk. So you'll get the points at the end. So the first thing I want to tell you about Abraham Lincoln is that he was in touch with his higher self, his big S self. This man had known hardship. He was born dirt poor, we all know that. His mother died when he was 9 years old. He was one of two children. He had an older sister. She died when he was 18 years old. He had an abusive father. He had no education, less than 1 year of formal schooling. He taught himself. Do you know that there's only one president in all of American history that has a U.S. patent? and it's Abraham Lincoln. He invented a bellows system for taking riverboats up over shoals so that you didn't have to unload them. The bellows system, you would inflate it with air and it would float over the shoal in the Mississippi River and go back down. Only president to have a U.S. patent. So he's self-educated, self-taught, and he knew great hardship. His romantic relationships were a mess. If you ever read about this, he fell in love with a woman named Anne Rutledge, and she died, and then somebody else left him, and then he and Mary Todd set a date to get married, and then they broke it up, and then they finally got married. Then they get married. They have two sons, Robert Todd, and then Edward Lincoln, and then little Eddie dies in 1850. They have another son, William. Willie dies in 1862. So two of Lincoln's sons predecease him. The third one, Tad, dies shortly after Lincoln does, so he doesn't see Tad's death. He only has one living son that makes it to adulthood. My point is, he knew hardship. But what did that do for him? It gave him what we would say today in kind of corporate jargon, emotional intelligence. But I think that the only thing emotional intelligence is recognizing your connection to that greater self and knowing when you are operating from that greater self versus from your individual small s self. Having emotional intelligence is being able to know when you're in alignment with a principle or something bigger than you are, rather than your opinion, your belief system, your BS, as I like to call it, belief system. You know, where are you in that? So one of the ways we see this about Lincoln is in emotional intelligence is that he could bring diverse people together. And in that ability, he himself was willing to grow. He was willing to grow. My workshop this afternoon is going to be about conflict. When I was talking to someone in the back, there is no growth without conflict. So we all hate conflict, but we say we love growth. Well, guess what? There's no growth without conflict. So Lincoln understood how to grow. He was willing to be wrong. He was willing to change his opinion. He was willing to listen to the other side. So I'm going to give you one example of this. When the Civil War started, Abraham Lincoln, by most historians' research and his own admission, he wouldn't have called it this word, but he was a racist. He truly did not believe that blacks and whites were equal. He believed that blacks had the right to the fruits of their own labors. He didn't believe in slavery, but he didn't believe the two races were equal. And then he met a man named Frederick Douglass. How many of you know who Frederick Douglass is? Yeah, okay, so I don't have to go through that part of the history lesson. So he met Douglass 3 times in his life. The first time he met Frederick Douglass was because Lincoln had just issued the and let me back up. Douglass was a huge critic of Abraham Lincoln. He didn't think Lincoln was doing enough for black people. He didn't think that he was doing enough to end slavery. He was on Lincoln all the time. And but never met him. He was just like in the media and giving speeches and stuff like that. So they finally meet in 1863, and all because Lincoln has issued the Emancipation Proclamation and is allowing blacks to now be soldiers, black men, of course, you know, blacks to be soldiers. But they don't get the same pay, they don't get the same treatment, and they aren't eligible to be officers or get promotions. So Douglass goes to Washington, D.C. and meets with Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln welcomes Douglass into the White House and listens to Douglass basically yell at him for this. And he told Douglass, I will think about it. I will take this under advisement. And did. And changed it. He was willing to grow. He was willing to be wrong. The next time they met because it was 1864 and it looked like Lincoln was not going to win re-election. And if he lost the election, he knew that the new administration coming in was going to negotiate a peace that let the South go and continued slavery. So he asked Douglass to go on kind of a covert operation, a secret spy mission, to go into the South and free as many slaves as possible before that happened. So he has gone in a space of 1 year from believing that blacks aren't equal with whites to asking Frederick Douglass to do one of the most important tasks that he saw of his presidency in a year. He was willing to be wrong. He was willing to recognize that there was a higher self there that he needed to connect to and see that same self in Douglass. And then the last time they met was at Lincoln's second inaugural. And I love this story. So Frederick Douglass goes to the second inaugural. It's March of 1865, 1 month before Lincoln's assassinated. And Douglass comes walking in. Well, I should say comes walking in. First of all, he's detained out front. They don't want to let him in the White House. And he says, I'm here by specific invitation of the president. And the people in the front are like, no, you're not. You can't come in here. And Lincoln, who's in this long receiving line of people who are congratulating him, kind of in the distance, sees that that Douglass is at the door and being detained, and yells across the room, "Oh, here's my friend Douglass. Bring him in." And they escort Douglass to the front of the line, where Lincoln shakes his hand and says, "I saw you in the audience today. I want to know what you thought about my speech." And Douglass defers and says, "Oh, well, Mr. President, there are many people here who have a better opinion than I." And he said, "No, I want to know what you thought," and stood there and detained the whole line while Douglass told him. This is in the course of a less than 2-year period. Lincoln is willing to be wrong. That's emotional intelligence. That's growth. That's change. That's the ability to look at yourself and see, am I operating from some sort of reactionary woundedness, or am I operating in this higher S self? So that's the first thing. Know yourself. Lincoln knew himself very well. The second point I want to make is accept what is. But more importantly, accept who is. Accept who is. Because what is involves who is. Abraham Lincoln has notoriously appointed for his cabinet a team of rivals. There was a book came out about 20 years ago called that by Doris Kearns Goodwin, Team of Rivals. Now, just imagine this today. In today's political culture, just imagine. So Abraham Lincoln appointed, there were 2 people who challenged Lincoln for the Republican nomination for president in 1860, Salmon Chase and William Seward. He made Seward Secretary of State, and he made Salmon Chase Secretary of the Treasury. So could you imagine having the people who challenged you? That would be like, I'm not even going to go to a contemporary example. I just won't. The words Ron DeSantis wanted to come out of my mouth, and I thought, we're just going to not. But could you imagine? But wait, it gets better. On the cabinet, he had 2 Democrats. He had Montgomery Blair, who was the Postmaster General, and Edwin Stanton, who was the Secretary of War. These people voted for the other party. Why did Lincoln do that? Because he knew that he wanted to learn from something greater than himself. He knew that he had to accept these people as they were, that he could learn from them. He didn't have to do what they said. He didn't have to operate the way they told him to. He was his own man, but he knew that he and the country would benefit, the whole community would benefit by listening to diverse opinions and taking what worked and what didn't. Sometimes we get so afraid of disagreement. We don't want the conflict. We don't want to have to disagree with people. But we also get afraid that if people don't agree with us, we're wrong or bad or rejected or inappropriate. And so we go along to get along, or we people please. But that isn't helpful. That isn't going to create this grand rising. All that's going to do is create a bunch of yes people. So Lincoln creates this whole team of people around him who constantly disagreed with him on all ends. He had William Seward and Salmon Chase, who thought he wasn't going far enough on abolishing slavery. And they were always on him to do more. And then he had Blair and Stanton, who thought he was being too radical and going too fast. And then there was a whole panoply in between that he was navigating. And yet, he loved and respected them all. When Lincoln was killed, the word said immediately after the doctor pronounced him dead on April 15th, 1865, the first words, there were a number of cabinet members, including William Seward, and of course Mary Todd Lincoln was there, and Edwin Stanton, the Democrat, Secretary of War. And the first person to say something after the doctor pronounced him dead was Stanton, the Democrat, who said, "And now he belongs to the ages." There was such great love and respect between these men, even though they disagreed. Which leads me to the handout. When you guys came in, you guys all got a handout. It's called the Oneness Prayer. This comes from work by Marcia Sutton and Lloyd Strom. They're from here in the Bay Area, if any of you guys know Marcia and Lloyd. I've known them both for quite a while, as has Reverend Jay, and we've done a lot of work with them. This is called the Oneness Prayer. Now, at the very bottom, you'll see this little disclaimer that I can't quite read because I don't have my glasses on, but y'all can, I'm sure, read it. And it says something about if there's someone who's really annoying you in your life, read this prayer and every day for 30 days with their name in it, and they will either come around or go away. I will admit, I mean, it doesn't say it exactly that way. I'm paraphrasing. But I will say that when I first started doing this, I did it to make them go away. I had someone who annoyed me in my life, and I thought, they'll just go away? So I was not high-minded or spiritual or any of that stuff about it. I just wanted this person to go away. 31 days after I started reading it, this person came to me and apologized for the issue that was at hand. On day 31, I was like, what? So now I do this all the time. So I'm going to challenge you. And I don't care who. Now I am going to say names. Is it Donald Trump? Is it Joe Biden? Is it Nikki Haley? Is it Kamala Harris? I don't care who. Read this every day for 30 days. Fill their name in it. Oh, yeah, and then you can do it on your personal stuff. Forgive your mother, forgive your family, forgive everyone else. That's important, too. I read it multiple times with multiple names in there. But try it out and watch what happens in the world because you took the time to accept people as they are instead of getting so angry and wishing they will change. So try it. That's your homework. I used to be a history professor, so that's your homework, okay? Turn it in to Reverend Jay next week. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, yeah, for those of you online, this will be emailed. Thank you. Yes. So this will be emailed. So, accept who and what is. So Lincoln's example tells us know your higher S, your bigger S self, accept what and who is, and last, this is a quote from Ernest Holmes, before something and against nothing. Before something and against nothing. So Abraham Lincoln gave this little talk in the town where I live. It's called the Gettysburg Address. You might have heard of it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to ask us all right now together to recite the opening line of the Gettysburg Address. Ready? Okay. How come, oh, wow, some of you are still going. How come 160 years later we still know that? Lincoln was not the primary speaker that day. Prior to his speech, the committee, so he spoke, there was the battle at Gettysburg, and there were so many dead left on the field that they had to create a national cemetery there in Gettysburg. First national cemetery, it wasn't Arlington, it was Gettysburg. They had to create a cemetery to bury all the dead. And they asked someone else to come be the keynote speaker, and Lincoln was just there to do a short dedication of the cemetery as president. So the primary speaker that day was the leading transcendentalist of his day, a man named Edward Everett. And so now go ahead and say the opening line of Everett's speech. Exactly. I don't even know it. So Everett spoke for 2 hours. How many of you before I said that even knew that there was another speaker at the Gettysburg Address? A couple of you, a few of you. Yeah, I figured a few of the history buffs, about 5, which is what I guessed. But you all knew the opening line of the Gettysburg Address. Why? Because in the Gettysburg Address, Lincoln does a statement of vision for the United States. When the Civil War starts, The issue is about the United States Constitution. And is it a perpetual union? Can states come and go as they please, or do we have to always be together, et cetera, et cetera? That's what it's about. But somewhere during the course of the war, Lincoln realizes that that's not compelling. People aren't going to fight because somebody's violated Article 4 of Section 12 of the Constitution. They want to fight for something bigger, something more meaningful. And so when he says that line we just all recited together 77 years ago, he's invoking that. You see, the United States Constitution was framed in 1787. He's speaking in 1863. There's going to be math. See, there's history, there's math. I'm telling you guys, I'm sorry I'm making you work on Sunday morning. How many people know what how long 7 is? 87. So what's 87 years before 1863? Quick. 1776. Wait, what? Not when the Constitution was framed, but when the Declaration of Independence was signed. And in that document, what do we say? All men are created equal. Sorry about the gender-specific language, but it was the time, right? So that's what I'm trying here, folks. I can't unquote, but yeah. So that's what he was saying. He was saying, we've been saying for this first year and a half that we're talking about, can states secede, or are we a perpetual union, or what's the legality of that? And that is, pardon my spiritual language, crap. What we are fighting for is equality and freedom, and we all know it. And so from this point forward, these dead shall not have died in vain, and this government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this earth, because this nation under God, he invokes God, will have a new birth of freedom. Not a new birth of constitutional democracy, not a new birth of Republican values, a new birth of freedom. That's why you still know the opening line of the Gettysburg Address 160 years later. Because it's at that moment that Abraham Lincoln stands up there and gives this vision statement. But what does he not say? He only speaks for 2 minutes, 272 words. Do I have permission to go 2 minutes over? 467 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal, and women. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, and let me stop. Now we are engaged in a great civil strife, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived or so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a battlefield of that war. We've come to dedicate a portion of that ground as the final resting place of those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men living and dead who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. Here's the part I want you to hear. It is for us, the living, rather, to be here dedicated to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is for us, rather, to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead, be it 160 years ago or not, shall not have died in vain, and that this nation under God will have a new birth of freedom, and the government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this earth. So, thank you. It's as true today as it was then. What did he not say? He did not decry slavery. He did not criticize the South. He did not call anybody names. He didn't accuse Jefferson Davis of having fake news. He was for something. He was for a new birth of freedom. So can we be for a new birth of freedom? So, it starts with you. Know your higher self. Be able to listen to people of other opinions and grow and change. Nothing changes without conflict, and sometimes that conflict's uncomfortable. But know that you're okay. You're connected. God's got you. Accept what and who is, whether you agree with them or not, especially if you don't agree with them. Love them anyway. And then be for something and against nothing. And that's what's going to bring about the grand rising in the beloved community. Let's pray. So I am just so grateful here in this moment to be in this beloved community and to feel the energy rising, this grand rising coming now, here, as it did in the 1860s, as it did in the 19-teens, as it did in the 1940s, as it does again here in 2024, right here, right now, because God is eternal. We are eternal. These principles never change. And so recognizing that there is only this one God, this one life, I tap into it right now, knowing it moves in, through, and as me, and in, through, and as all beings in this room, in this community, in this world. Whether we share the same opinion, the same skin color, the same background, the same ideas, we are still all part of the one life. And so recognizing that this one life expresses so beautifully in its multiplicity, I just know for each person here that we are moving forward, accepting, understanding, loving all of that diversity. I accept for each and every person here that we are open to grow. We are open to listen. We are open to be wrong. We are open to understand and respect everybody around us. I accept that we know who we are enough that we accept people for who they are. And I absolutely know that we can all right now stand for something and against nothing. And so recognizing this, I just recognize that we now go out into the world to create this grand rising. We are the people we've been waiting for. And so knowing this and feeling it and just absolutely being so rooted in this truth, I can let it go. I can already see the world transformed. I already see unity and peace and a new birth of freedom right here, right now. And so it's with great gratitude for this that I let this be, because I know that all is well. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh my.
Come on. Such a grand rising. You know, grand risings is the new slogan for all the young people, if you haven't noticed. All my young friends, every time I say hello to them, they say, "Grand rising, Bodhi." So they must be tuned in to the vision of being for something, not against anything. I love that. Sitting on a bench one day, I asked the Lord, "Oh, teach me how to pray." And as I opened up my heart to Him, it came to me just where to begin. Oh, let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. Let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. And in those moments when I felt so close, I must own the consequence for the path that I chose. Time and time again I reach for the sky, only to remember truth lies inside. Oh, sing it with me. Let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. Oh, let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. So I keep breathing one breath at a time. My spirit soars and I accept my life. And loving you comes from loving me. And in this balance lies the way to be. Here we go again. Let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. Let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. Let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. Let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. Feel your love. I feel your love.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. This is the time in our service we invite you to be part of the law of circulation. If we can have our ushers come forward, please. We know that which you give from the heart, that which you give from your soul, comes back to you in many ways. We appreciate you supporting our vision and mission in the way you give and the many ways you do, either by online or by texting even. We have that choice now. We have a QR code, or if you give it here in person. So we put our hand over our heart to represent that which you've already given, that which you're giving today, or that which you will give, and repeat with me the blessing on the screen. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate, and so it is.
God is the source of who I am. God is the dream of what I do. And if it's God I'm talking to, I'll give myself to be used by you. God is the source of who I am. God is the dream of what I do. And if it's God I'm talking to, I'll give myself to be used by you. God is the source of who I am. God is the dream of what I do. And if it's God I'm talking to, I'll give myself to be used by you. I give myself to be used by you. I give myself to be used by you.
So as we, what? Oh, thank you. If we could have our practitioners up. Yeah, just speak out. I don't know sign language. We could have our practitioners come forward. They'll be available for prayer after the service. Thank you. And let us know we are blessed, and let us go seek that new freedom, the vision of the new freedom. And have a great day.
Welcome to the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living. We are a vibrant, inclusive, and spiritual community that seeks to live intentionally, love unconditionally, and see God in all people and in all faiths. We believe the work we do in prayer and in the community creates